title, you're here because you have completed midterm season. And maybe it was great for you. Maybe it wasn't so great for your friends. Or maybe you, very much like me, had to calculate what you needed to make on your midterm to the tenths, hundredths, thousandths place just to figure out if you're going to make it to the next semester, if you're going to meet that 75 threshold. I was like you, and you can do it. You can pull your grade up. You can do the work. You have the ability to do anything you put your mind to. However, it is going to take hard work. So when I found myself sitting in the middle of the floor asking God why, like this felt like a last resort to me. And it may feel like a last resort to you as well, especially if you come from a background where making a lot of money was never attainable to you. It wasn't in your reach. You didn't see people making a lot of money or having quality lifestyles that you felt like were quality. And now you feel like it's all about to drop out of your hands because you didn't pass two tests prior to the midterm. Now, what I can say is, as someone who I have dual bachelor degrees, and the nursing curriculum is very different from any other curriculum. It's one of the hardest programs that you're going to go through, not only due to the curriculum itself, but through due to the lack of critical thinking skills. So, as a biology major initially, we can regurgitate that information. As long as we can apply it and we can plug in numbers, we're able to remember the information and place it on a test. And it was not an easy program. I am not going to lie to you. My biology program was not easy, but it was very different from the nursing program. The nursing program challenged you to think through the process. And initially, we don't have those critical thinking skills. Now, coming out on the end of it, now I can answer those questions with no problem. But when you're initially going into the nursing program, you're trying to figure out how do you even answer these nursing questions, right? The first, the priority, the A, B, C, D, E, F, G's. You're trying to figure this out, how the processes actually go. And are they going in the right direction? Did I need to make this step before that step? All of these things are things that you have to think about when you're in nursing school because honestly, that's really the only thing they're talking about. And there are plenty of times where you looked at a question and you said, okay, is this first? Is this step first? Is it the priority? What is the priority based on the ABCs? Okay, you answered the question and you did not read it all the way through. So, as someone who struggled through, I would say, not diagnosed mold toxicity and losing some of my short term memory, I too was in the same position as you. And I actually had to repeat a class. And I could make all the excuses in the world. I'm not going to lie to you. When I lost my memory because of the mold that was in the apartment that I sublet, I had no idea. I never met the girl that I sublet from. I just sublet her apartment. She already had a roommate. And every time I would go to my room, I would itch. My nose would run. I would sneeze all day. And then I saw black mold on the windowsill. So I called the front office. I'm like, hey, it's mold here. They come in, they spray it with some bleach, they move. Next week, mold there again. They come, they spray it with some bleach, and they move on. Then I start emailing. I'm like, hey, this is not going away. I don't even think that this is how you get rid of mold. What are you doing here? At the time, I'm losing my ability to actually memorize information. I don't know what's going on. I'm having nervous issues. I'm having amenorrhea. I'm sitting in my car on a daily basis with my foot shaking because I cannot move. I literally cannot move. And now I get to my apartment and it's mold everywhere. I mean, mold literally everywhere. on the couch, which is a common area that I rarely use because I was rarely at home. I normally study at school. And if I did study at home, I would study at the round table. I never even sat on the couch. One day I came in, it was mold growing on the couch, on the broom, on my roommate's broom, on the Glade pop-up that I had put there. It was mold everywhere. And then when the maintenance man came to change the air conditioner unit, guess what was on the filter? Black mold everywhere. So at that point, I was privileged enough and lucky enough to have a friend who lived at the prior institution that I went to, and I stayed with him and I commuted 1 hour to 1 hour from school every day, in addition to working. But when I went through that, I had to relearn everything. And when I say I had to relearn everything, I mean everything. I had to relearn how to study, how to understand things, how to memorize things. I started eating blueberries, chocolate, chewing gum while I'm studying, walking around while I'm studying, figuring out things that help me learn. Because had I not done that, y'all, I wouldn't have made it through. And as I said, sitting in the middle of my floor, crying out to figure out what am I gonna do. At some point I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna get my bachelor's. Like I'm gonna use my biology degree. I already took the GRE. I'm just gonna be a biology teacher. I was like, I am just going to be a biology teacher. But no, no, no. If I can do it, if the nurses that I have interviewed can do it, you can do it too. It's only midterm. You have the ability to get your grades up. Get your grades up no matter what it takes. It might take not going on the trip with your friends. It might take not being able to go out. It might take the sacrifices that most of us have to make when we're going into our careers. There were plenty of times where I actually had to not go to the family function because I have to study or I have to work and now I have to study afterward. It had even gotten to a point where they just stopped calling me. And I'm like, no, still call me. I still want to be invited. Maybe one day I'll be able to come. But sometimes that's where your life will be until you gain your degree and then you can go to all the family functions because now you got some little money, you know what I'm saying? You can make it there. You you have to sometimes take a step back from where you are so that you can see where you could be and see where the potential is and see what obstacle you're at right now because right now it's not going to be always. So if you can just push through to the other side through the microaggressions, through the test questions, through the processes. If you could think through those things and make your way into your career field, I promise you, whatever you want to do in nursing, you can. You don't have to stay pigeonholed. You don't have to do bedside. You don't have to do ICU. You don't have to be a CRNA if you don't want to do that. You don't have to do any of those things if you don't want to do them. There are so many careers in nursing that you can go into. If one doesn't work, pivot. That's the beauty of having a nursing degree, is that if anything happens, you can pivot. I think most people go into nursing and they land on a unit where they don't feel appreciated, where they don't feel like they're getting their full experience. And if you feel that way, you can pivot. That is the beauty of a nursing degree. So if you, like me, were calculating down to the 10th, trying to figure out your life, please, please, please go and look up study techniques. Figure out how best you learn. You might be an auditory learner. You might be a, what is it, kinetic? Is it kinetic? I haven't thought about this in a long time. You might have to write down everything. I remember a teacher who used to have to write down, like she would write her whole book and leave spaces and fill in the blank. That is how she learned. That is how she memorized stuff. That is what she did. So for me, as I said earlier, I started eating fruits that had antioxidants that increased memory. I started using pens that were said that they were best for memory. I started chewing gum while I would study and chew that same gum while I take my test to create the memory link. It there were some things that I had to do in order to get to where I am that you don't think that you would need to research how to study in order to study. But you have to recognize when you are, let's say for instance, the people in who in high school that were smart, they don't have the best study techniques. We didn't. We really didn't. Like, we didn't have to study much. We would just take tests, move on, make an A, go on about your business. When you get into college, there are certain things that you have to do in order to be able to, one, dedicate yourself to your studies, and two, be able to study because you don't know how to. That's why a lot of people who were smart in high school, it doesn't translate over into college because one, we lack responsibility. We have no idea how to be responsible people. We are still kids. We are kids and people are treating us like adults and we're trying to figure this thing out. But in addition to that, we never had great study techniques. We went to school, we took the test, we did the homework, and that was it. We did not study. And so if you have to sit down and go through articles, like I literally read through articles and articles and articles to figure out, one, how I could get my memory back, and two, how to study. Like how to study, how to make good grades. After that, y'all, I remember, and y'all, if y'all listen to the podcast, y'all have heard me talk about this young lady before. I do not remember her name. I just remember how she made me feel. And so after I had to repeat, I think I didn't do so good on my first test. And during that time I was doing a lot of different things, and so one of those things I had to stop. And I went to tutoring. And when I went to tutoring, this young lady said, "So what are you having problems with?" And I was like, "I have test anxiety." And she looked at me, she said, "Test anxiety?" I was like, "Yes, I got test anxiety. What you mean?" "Yes, I got test anxiety." I got home and I said, if she can feel that way about herself, if she has that amount of confidence in herself, why can't I? From that point on, I was making straight A's because I realized test anxiety was in my head. It was an emotion that I put on myself. I had never had test anxiety prior to college. Never had it. Just heard it in the wind, and I put that emotion onto myself, and I started having test anxiety. Literally, if anything would move or shake in the class, I'm like, okay. And then it got to a point where it was like, hey, if you need to ask for accommodations from your teachers, ask for accommodations. Stop acting like you don't have the resources because we have them and we don't know it. So I used to ask for manila folders so that it could block out everybody else. I didn't want to see anybody else. I didn't want to see them move. I didn't want to see them think. I didn't want to see them because whatever they were doing would take my attention off of myself. Because what would happen is, as soon as somebody left the class, I'll be like, everybody's finished. And I'm the slowest person there. Like, I'm always going to be the last person out. I might be the last person in and the last person out. So I'm like, I'm always going to be the last person out, whether it's during class and I'm putting stuff in my backpack or anything. I'm going to be the last person out. So as I'm taking my test, I can see people getting up and leaving. And I'm like, I'm only on number 20 out of 60 and everybody's leaving. Then you go to just making dumb mistakes. You're not reading the question all the way through. Read the question 2 times, answer with your first gut. That's it. Read the question 2 times, answer with your first gut. I stopped talking to people before my test. Completely stopped. I did let my people know, hey, I can't talk to nobody before the test no more because it give me a little anxiety. So I'm gonna hit you up after the test, but before the test, we can't talk for real. So what I would do, I would put my headphones in. I would listen to J. Cole Motivate every day. Every time before a test, that was my test song, Motivate by J. Cole. And I would sit away from people. I would not look at them. I would not talk to them. I think I heard Les Brown say when you look somebody in the eyes, if they have anxiety, you could take on their anxiety. Stop looking at people. Stop talking to people before the test, because the people that's talking before the test, they're trying to figure stuff out. They want to know, okay, so what was the process of this? And then what you think gonna be on that? And then all of a sudden, y'all out there discussing, and y'all discussing the wrong stuff. Then whatever the wrong answer was is in your head, and that's what you put on the test every single time. Stop doing that to yourself. If you want to study with people, and everybody should already know the information before coming into the study group, because you're there to study together as a group, as a collective. And if one person isn't on the same page as everybody else, they will throw your whole group off. You won't know what's going on. You don't know what's going on. They don't know what's going on. Everybody's on a different page, and we're just trying to figure this thing out. But as I said, if you have gone through midterm season and you're trying to figure out life, you're trying to balance life and figure out how you're going to make it to the next semester. If you feel like your grade is too low, get it up. And if you have to repeat the semester, repeat it with pride. And then if you have to sit out a semester, do something that you want to do. Form a hobby, do whatever you want to do. I did an episode with Your Nurse Lawyer. She said her break whenever she ended up not passing one class was the best time of her life. Mine, I took African American Studies. It was a great time. I never thought that I would be able to take a class like that, considering I went to a PWI initially. And then at this school, I was solely focused on nursing. But when I did not make it in that class, it was like, okay, find something else to do. I took African American Studies, and I think I took a religion class too, but I ended up dropping the religion class and just taking African American Studies and another class along with it. But yes, figure out what you want to do. If you have to sit down for a little moment, sit down for a moment, give yourself time to breathe and think through what happened the last semester. It is not the end of the world. I promise you it's not. It does feel like it. It is going to feel like it. It's gonna feel like the end of the world, but I promise you it's not. A lot of us that are in nursing a lot of your great nurses had to repeat a class. Not everybody, but some people did have to repeat a class. And some people go through different journeys of nursing. Some people go the CNA to LPN to BSN route, ASN to BSN route. Some people go straight into the BSN program. That's what I did. I came from a bachelor's in biology into a accelerated program, and I failed out of the accelerated program and ended up in a traditional program. And it was okay. I met so many great people, formed so many great relationships, and I was okay. Now, when I did not make that 75 by 0.5 points, was I crying in the car? Yes. I was crying in the car, literally crying in the car. Got the message in the car with my mom and my daddy. Got the message. My whole face dropped. In there crying, then after that, y'all, I'm trying to reason with my professor. I'm like, hey, I think that this question need a blah, blah, blah. Like, somebody else told me. I ain't never say no, somebody else told me. But there were times, and sometimes you do have to challenge your test. Sometimes some of their questions do not make sense, and sometimes they are wrong. And there were times where I have had to challenge my grade. One teacher did not want to give me an A. She tried to stick me at a 88, and she didn't give me the appropriate grade. She wanted to give everybody else points, but didn't want to give me points. So I escalated it. I escalated it up the chain of command, and always go in the chain of command. You go from that teacher, you talk to them. If they're not responding or saying anything back, then you go to your assistant dean. Then if that assistant dean isn't responding to you back, then you go above their head. And that's what I had to do. And as I'm talking to the dean, my grades were changing because she was being biased towards me. So yes, y'all, if you have made it to this episode, it is because you need this. Like, you needed this talk. You wanted to sit down with me. You wanted to talk to me because I'm Keisha. You know, I'm the evolved nurse, and you trying to be a nurse, and you are in nursing school, and you trying to figure out life. Okay, you're trying to figure out life, and it's not going to end. Your life is not going to end with a failed test. Your life is not going to end with a failed class. And if this is something that you want to do, nursing calls you, you don't call it. So you will keep going until you get it. You're not going to give up on yourself. I promise you that. Do not give up on yourself. So, with that being said, y'all want to see my new artwork? Let me show y'all my new artwork. I got it framed. Can y'all see it? Can y'all see it? This is my new artwork. Can y'all like it? I got it framed at Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby. Y'all like it? It is by, I'm gonna put her information in the comment section. But I think that is one of her last prints of this. It was out of 50. I got like number 20 out of 50, and I think that collection is done. It is by Kristen Woolery, and this is her information right here, y'all. And I just love her art so much. Y'all see that? Y'all see that? I just feel like it's just so vibrant and just so me. But where I'm gonna put it in my house, back here. Y'all gonna see it in my office soon. Hung up soon. But yes. Y'all have a great day. I hope that this encouraged somebody, and I hope that you don't give up on yourself, because why would you give up on yourself? Honestly, if ain't nobody gonna do it, if ain't nobody gonna push you, you gotta push yourself. And that's just the reality of it. Well, y'all have a great day. If before y'all go, look down in the comment sections, because a lot of us are struggling, okay? A lot of us are struggling with our vitamin D3 levels. We are struggling with our reproductive health. We are just out here struggling. And we struggling with the NCLEX. We are struggling. So if you look down in the description, you will see our Black Girl Vitamins link. You will also see our Yoni Potion link. Both of those are great for your health, both Black women made, okay? Black Girl Vitamins. They have vitamin D3. They have probiotics. They have sea moss. They have collagen. They have all of these things. So use my code down in the description to get your first Black Girl Vitamin. In addition to that, I think you're gonna get 10% off. It might be more. I am not sure right now. I'm gonna go look for y'all, and I'll put it down in the description as well. And then for your Yoni Potion, you will get 10% off as well, and that is for reproductive health. And the creator of that is the Zulu nurse, Patso, and she created that for reproductive health. Yeah. And you should get it. You should get it.